Everything you know, everything you believe is a delicate construct, a fragile latticework of perception, memory, and expectation. You wake up each day convinced that the world is as it was yesterday, that the laws of physics, the structure of time, the solidity of matter, these things are constants. But beneath the surface, reality is a trembling illusion, a mask worn by something far stranger. Imagine for a moment that the fundamental nature of existence is not what it appears to be, that our senses, our eyes, our ears, our very thoughts are tuned not to some objective truth, but to a sliver of experience crafted for survival. The universe, as we see it, is a crude approximation, an interface, a simulation not in the way of digital ones and zeros, but in the way a dream is real only while you are inside it. Look at your hand, the skin, the veins, the movement of your fingers. It feels solid. It obeys commands. But beneath the flesh is a vast, empty space between atoms. The closer you look, the less there is. The particles that make you up exist in a quantum haze, flickering probabilities rather than definite things. A single electron can be in multiple places at once. It is only when observed that it chooses a position. Why should observation affect reality? What does it mean that the act of looking collapses possibilities into certainty? The universe itself, it seems, behaves differently when it is being watched. But who or what is watching? You remember the past, you anticipate the future. But time itself is not what you think. It does not flow like a river carrying you forward. It is a landscape, a frozen structure where every moment exists simultaneously. You do not move through time. Rather, your consciousness illuminates one frame at a time, giving the illusion of progression. Imagine yourself standing outside of time, looking at your entire existence laid out before you. Your birth, your death, every moment in between, coexisting like frames of a film. This is what relativity suggests, that past, present, and future are equally real, that now is an illusion created by the limitations of our perception. And yet, we experience time as movement, as change. But what if this sensation is simply the function of our mind? What if, outside of human consciousness, there is no past or future, only an eternal, unmoving whole? If the universe requires an observer to take shape, then who observed the first moment? Was there a consciousness before time itself, collapsing the wave function into being? Is reality a self-generating loop, where awareness begets existence, and existence begets awareness? The deeper you look, the stranger it gets. Scientists speak of quantum entanglement, where two particles separated by vast distances mirror each other's state instantaneously, as if distance does not exist, as if the fabric of space itself is an illusion, a construct of the mind rather than a physical reality. If space is an illusion and time is an illusion, then what remains? The self? But what are you, really? A collection of thoughts and memories, a stream of experiences flowing through an empty center. The brain itself, despite its complexity, is just another arrangement of particles, following laws it did not create, producing a mind that assumes itself to be real. And yet, you feel real. You feel like something more than the sum of neurons firing in the dark. Why? Perhaps reality is not a thing, but a process. Not a structure, but an unfolding. Something that is not until it is experienced. Like the dreamer who only knows he is dreaming when he awakens. But what if you never wake up? What if the dream is all there is? What if the reality you take for granted is simply the most persistent illusion? The one that does not shatter upon opening your eyes, but instead wraps around you, seamless and unbroken, leading you further into its depths. And if you could wake up, if you could glimpse beyond the veil, what do you think you would see? Would it be light or darkness? Would it be infinite nothingness, or something so vast, so alien, that words would fail to grasp even the edges of its form? What if, for a brief moment, you could see the universe not as a collection of stars and planets, but as it truly is? A single, undivided whole, a vast network of interwoven possibilities, existing all at once. And what would that mean for you? If every thought you've ever had, every action you've ever taken, still exists, suspended in the fabric of reality, then are you truly free? If the future is already written, if time is a frozen structure, then is your next decision truly yours? Or are you merely watching yourself act like a character in a film, believing in the illusion of choice, because that is what the script demands? There are those who have tried to glimpse beyond the illusion, through meditation, through altered states of consciousness, through the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Some claim to have seen beyond time, beyond space. Some claim to have touched the infinite, only to return unable to describe what they witnessed. They speak of something beyond form, beyond language, something that cannot be known, only experienced. But even that is a paradox, because if something is beyond language, beyond thought, then can it truly be said to exist? If it cannot be described, cannot be measured, cannot be observed, then what is it? And yet, deep within, there is a part of you that already knows. There is a reason you feel a pull towards these questions, a reason the idea of something beyond the physical world resonates. It is not because you were told to believe in something greater. It is not because of any doctrine, any ancient text. It is because on some level you have always known that the reality you see is only a fragment. That behind the ordinary, behind the familiar, there is something waiting. Something just beyond the veil of perception, so close you can almost reach it, yet forever out of grasp. Think about a dream. When you are inside it, it feels real. The people you meet, the places you visit, they all seem solid, meaningful. It is only upon waking that you realize how strange it all was, how the logic of that world was different from this one, how you accepted impossibilities without question. But now consider this. What if waking up does not mean you have left the dream, but simply entered another? What if reality itself is structured like layers of dreams, each one more vivid, more convincing than the last? And what if death is not an end, but simply the transition from one layer to another? You do not remember where you were before you were born. You assume it was nothingness. But why? Why should nothingness be the default state when every part of nature suggests that things transform rather than vanish? Perhaps consciousness is not something that emerges from the brain, but something that exists outside of it. Perhaps the brain is not the source of awareness, but the receiver, the filter. And when that filter breaks down, awareness does not cease. It simply returns to where it was before, no longer bound by the illusion of self. But what if there is no before? What if consciousness is not something that moves through time, but something that exists outside of it, something eternal, unchanging, waiting to be realized? What if the very idea of beginning and end is just another illusion, another construct of the mind, another rule imposed by the way we perceive reality? And if that is true, then what are you? Not a body, not a mind, not a collection of thoughts, not even a soul, as commonly imagined, but something else entirely, something that cannot be named, something that has always been and always will be. You have felt it before, in moments of stillness, in the vast silence of a night sky, in the brief, inexplicable feeling that you are more than yourself, that there is something watching, waiting, guiding, that there is meaning even if you cannot define it. But meaning is another paradox. If the universe is an illusion, then does meaning exist? Or is it simply another construct, another survival mechanism, another dream within the dream? Maybe that is the final question. Not what is real, not what is true, but whether truth itself is just another illusion, one that, like all the others, we will not recognize until we finally awaken.